Now we delve into how IT and BPO contribute to growth in a panel titled Leveraging IT and Outsourcing for Mutual Growth in MENA, moderated by Ms. Dana Darwish, Program Manager at Digital Economy and Entrepreneurship at the Ministry of Digital Economy and Entrepreneurship. Please welcome. Our esteemed speakers, Mr. Waed Alhawamdeh, Managing Director for Concentrix Jordan, UAE and KSA. Mr. Hussam Dwairi, CTO for 2P. Mr. Alan El-Kadhi, Director of Gaza Sky Geeks.
Thank you for that introduction, and good afternoon to everyone. Of course, everyone joining us here at the MENA ICT Forum and everyone watching us online. My name is Dana Darwish. I'm Jordan Source Program Manager at the Ministry of Digital Economy and Entrepreneurship, and it is my pleasure to be here with you today talking about a topic that we're quite passionate about at the Ministry, and I believe that we're very fortunate to have such a wonderful lineup of panelists. So starting off with Mr. Waed Alhawamdeh, the phenomenal partner that we've had for such a long time at Concentrix, managing Jordan, KSA, and the UAE, Mr. Hussam Dwairi from 2P, the CTO at 2P, and Mr. El-Kadhi from Gaza Sky Geeks. So today we're going to have a conversation about how information technology outsourcing, business process outsourcing, and really bringing talent from around the world to work together to create a more innovative, a smooth, and a bright future is happening in different regions, in different locations, and in different capacities. But before we start, it wouldn't be a panel moderated by me if we didn't play a quick video about Jordan Source. So it's a little biased, but I'm hoping you'll allow it. So we have a small video about our program and showcasing the vision of Jordan Source.
Jordan's ICT sector proved to be exceptionally resilient. Jordan's quality talent delivers a well-educated, bilingual, tech-savvy, and price-competitive workforce. We are making long-term commitments to invest in this booming sector and to empower companies who engage Jordanian ITOs and BPOs. Join us as we take this leap into a bright, promising future.
Jordan Source and the Youth Technology and Jobs Project, we do believe that the future is bright. So I'm going to be asking you questions, and then towards the end of the panel, once we kind of familiarize our audience with your respective roles, it'll become a bit more collaborative. So starting off with Mr. Waed, I truly believe you are one of the most fit people in the industry to talk about Jordanian talent. But before we get into that, can you tell us a little bit about your capacity within Concentrix?
Sure. Thank you, Dana. It's always a pleasure to be with you in another panel. So basically speaking about Concentrix, we're a global leader within customer experience and technology solutions. Our optimal goal is to provide and deliver such kind of seamless customer interactions. And that is obviously leveraged over the kind of talent pool and then the data analytics and the technology. Eventually, that would reach to our clients, where we're serving over than 2,000 clients worldwide, and to provide some kind of top-notch services. Now, out of Jordan, actually, we just celebrated our 5th anniversary last July, and we are operating or orchestrating out of 2 cities in Jordan, in Amman and Irbid. And it's been a successful story since day one, always supported by the talented workforce in the country. And that is our key focus, always to invest in our resources, processes, and technology so we can sustain this success. And actually today with us here, we do have a couple of our talents who started in the earlier stages of Concentrix Jordan and today leading big operations of hundreds of people as a great succession within the organization.
That's absolutely brilliant. And I think what's so special about the space that you operate in is that it's really focused on talent, right? And that's true for Concentrix, 2P, and Gaza Sky Geeks. And I do want to circle back to the talent and how technically none of your clients are going to have the same sense of patriotism that, for example, I would have. They're not going to hire someone because they're like, oh, Jordanian talent is so phenomenal. They're going to hire based off of quality of work. And that's going to be our next point of discussion. But allow me to move it to our second panelist, Mr. Hussam. Can you tell us a little bit? I know you've been with 2P for 18 years. And it must have been so exciting to watch the company grow over time. So can you tell us a little bit about 2P and your experience within it?
Yeah, of course. 2B started as a software development company back in 2004. I joined the company beginning of 2007 for 18 years now. Today, 2B is a publicly listed company in Saudi Arabia, offering a comprehensive set of services. So it is a system integration company. We do offer a diverse set of services ranging from software development to IT operation, maintenance and support, IT outsourcing, customer experience, business process outsourcing, cybersecurity, and so on. 3 out of main 6 line of businesses of 2B are, in some terms, are business process outsourcing, namely the operation and maintenance, which is an staff augmentation, and IT outsourcing, the customer experience management, business process outsourcing for contact centers and 360-degree customer experience. And we have introduced our one of its kind methodology for managed services at the beginning of 2023, which is offering long-term service level-based agreement contracts for IT operations.
That's really exciting. And I also feel like when the CTO has known so much about the history and how the company is growing, it's going to lead to a very exciting conversation. So with that, we move to our third panelist, Mr. Alan. I am personally so passionate about your mission, and I'm really excited that we get to share today's panel together. So give us a little bit of background, because I know the moment everyone heard the name Gaza Sky Geeks, it automatically hit a chord, and we want to know more. What is this project, and where did it come from?
Yeah, thank you very much. And so the first thing is we're very grateful to be here to, as Gaza Sky Geeks, to talk about the Gaza and the Palestinian situation. And really at the start, I'd just like all of us to think about what's going on in Gaza and to spend a moment to think about how we can help them. Gaza Sky Geeks started in 2011, and our goal has been the same. We started a small program. We're a program of a major international aid organization. Started in 2011, so we've been running for 13, 14 years. And the goal has always been the same, is because of the situation in Gaza, the blockade, and also now we're across all of the West Bank, the occupation, is one of the only sectors which is really viable is online work. So when we started, the focus was initially around startups and entrepreneurship, and we expanded and grew. So now our focus is really on tech training of individuals, upskilling Palestinian tech companies, and then the third piece is really how do we connect them to the overseas market. And over the years, the scale has grown and the quality of our trainings have grown, and also the connections to international companies. I'll tell you more about the results and the outcomes we've had as we go through. And also I would like to talk a little bit later on about why we're here is to try and find connections with companies overseas, particularly in Jordan and the Middle East, to connect and help the Palestinian tech ecosystem.
I feel like that is a mission we can all get behind, and we're very honored that you're here with us today. So for whatever part of my speech that Hala and Faisal have not said before me and stolen my thunder, but they're a very good partner of Jordan Source, so we forgive them. But we do believe that there's so much about what we say about why Jordan that feels at some point that it's a little too good to be true. We say that there's so many beautiful technology stories, so many stories and innovation have started from Jordan and have spread to the Middle East and then later to the world. And we know that there's a high entrepreneurial spirit and sense in Jordanians. But with that being said, going back to our point earlier, when competing in the ITO and BPO industry, no client needs to choose a firm or a local partner based off of their which country they're from. Everyone competes on a basis of talent, right? And I do believe that we do have a lot of that. But Waed, if you can tell us from your experience, because we know that this has been your bread and butter for the past, you've had 20 years of experience, but in Concentrix for the past 5. What do you feel has been setting Jordan apart?
Well, basically, in Jordan, I believe, based on our experience, that's something we have seen by our own eyes. Looking at the investment environment, it's built on the fundamental base that would eventually cater the need of the investors. And if I may summarize in maybe a couple of points here, absolutely to start with, the talent pool itself is the hidden gem that we do have in the country that is always skilled with the young educated talents, and also the kind of adaptability and the way they are willing to grow within the organization. And that is always a key for the success when we rely on such kind of strong talents. But it's not only that, it's major part of the story, but also the kind of infrastructure that we do have in Jordan. And basically speaking about the technology infrastructure, in order to sustain such kind of ITO, PPO industry or business in the country, you need to have the required infrastructure to run the business. And then moving to our location, no one can neglect the fact that Jordan is positioned in the heart of MENA region. And we're not only geographically close to the nearby countries, but also we understand the different cultures, and that adds a lot when we tailor and customize the service to those markets. And then the kind of stability that we do have in Jordan, despite the challenges we have faced for the past decades in the region, Jordan remained stable, and that from a political and economical perspective. And that adds up to the, I would say, the last piece here, the support we're getting from the royal family and the government. Speaking of His Majesty, King Abdullah II, sponsoring the investment environment in Jordan, and also His Highness, the Crown Prince, when we're looking at the technology sector, the way we're getting this kind of support. And as well, we're talking about the government with the initiatives. Good example is Jordan Source, and then the incentives that we're providing in the country to, once again, speaking of a country that has tax exemptions and customs exemptions, and to be promoted worldwide as the right destination for investors. So I believe we do have the right set of fundamental elements to position Jordan on the map as the right destination for ITO, PPO industry.
And you've been doing it very well for the past 5 years. And I believe that it's truly one of the success stories that we're always proud of sharing. So if we can ask Mr. Hussam a question. We know that your experience as CTO of 2P, it's really technology heavy. How have you brought in that technology element into the outsourcing mandate of 2P?
Now, integrating the AI, the automation, the robotics into the IT outsourcing is very crucial here for the business process outsourcing landscape to advance. So in 2B, we have taken this initiative beginning of 2023 to reshape the IT outsourcing industry overall by changing it from regular manpower, staff augmentation, into integrating technology and innovations in order to drive it toward service level agreements, providing it the IT operation full-fledged service in terms of let's say business process outsourcing of IT operations, where we run the whole show of the IT operation at the customer side. Now we understand that there is no one size that fits all. So this adopting this model will help us to maintain the service quality, enhance the efficient spending or efficient operations, and at the same time lower the total cost of ownership, enhancing the profit margins.
Brilliant, and I feel like it's really interesting having a Levantine perspective on this. And I'm also going to quote MENA devs on this. I love using the word external partnerships, and if you hear me use that later on, just know that I won't give them credit for it. But I also feel like this is something that we don't talk about enough when it comes to outsourcing. That in reality, you're not just giving someone else to do the job. You are also tapping into their creativity, you're tapping into their innovation. We always say you can access the 400 million Arabic-speaking region out of Jordan. And of course, it's similar for our brothers and sisters in Palestine. So, Mr. Allen, can you walk us through a little bit of when you started? Did you envision Gaza Sky Geeks to get to the scale where it is now?
So, first of all, I wasn't there, sadly, when it started in 2011. I've been there 3.5 years, but I know the history of it. So when it started, it was quite small. It was actually backed by Google initially to try and bring entrepreneurship, as I mentioned, in startups. But really what's happened, let's say in the last 5 years, the scale has grown massively. So in both geographically, so originally we're just in Gaza, but now we're all across the West Bank, but also in terms of the scale of the numbers. So in 2022, we put through about 4,000 people through training programs. We would have hit the same numbers in 23 if, of course, the situation hadn't started in October 23. It's not only the scale in volume, but it's also a shift into recognizing that Palestine is not a low-cost country. We can't compete on price. I've lived in Vietnam, I've run tech companies there, I've helped companies in Asia, and I've lived and worked in the States and in Australia and so on. And I was a buyer of outsourcing services for tech companies. Companies buy for two real reasons. They're buying for, if it's low cost, but primarily they're buying for good quality. But it's a balance between those two. Palestine not being a low-cost country means that we can't compete with, say, the Vietnams, the Southeast Asias, and people like that, even Eastern Europe. So what we recognized 5 years ago was we have to focus on specialist skills, very high-quality skills. So all of our trainings now are in areas which are in demand. So we always look at what the demand is overseas. We're always driven by demands. So we say we're demand-driven, how we drive our trainings. And we try and partner with some of these global tech training companies which give recognized certifications. That's really important today in outsourcing. The other thing is, it's not just, as some of the colleagues here have mentioned, and you mentioned, it's not just about their technical skills. English is super important there. It's the language of business. Now, admittedly, being in Palestine, we've got this massive new growing market throughout the region in the Middle East, which again we can tap into. So when we use that. So it's very much a mixture of talent in terms of tech, but these soft skills as well that they need to know how to deal with clients. And then, of course, what we've done, the scale went from individuals that we were training at scale to now work with companies. Because the other thing we recognize is if we want to build an economy in Palestine, it can't just all be gig work. You can't build a country on Uber drivers in the tech world. You have to build tech services companies. And Palestine's really well positioned for services. Highly educated population, they're really fast learners, and also we saw in Gaza, they're desperate and eager to work. And that's really what we've built on. And it's been very successful.
Brilliant. I think that's one of the most important missions one can have in his life. So if I can ask one question, but I want to hear all three of your opinions on it. We're hearing a lot about the impact of AI. People are worried that they're losing their jobs, but in reality, what we've been seeing is that with the help of AI, the world is uncovering new skills that people need to adapt to. And whether or not your job is impacted or your company growth is impacted, it's not whether AI is coming for your job. It's whether you find out a way to adapt to the new skills and the new technologies that you're going to have to use as part of your systems and processes. So if in a few words you can tell us about the few key skills that you believe that talent should have moving forward and able for them to build a resilient future for themselves, starting with Mr. Waed, لو سمحت.
In my personal opinion, I believe that with the newly released cutting-edge technologies, we're moving from the traditional kind of services towards more specialized services. And without focusing and investing in the existing resources in certificates, knowledge, learning, and AI, machine learning, data analytics, digital transformation, we wouldn't be able to bridge the gap needed for the near future. So absolutely, this is something that we're seeing, and even from our point of view in Concentrix, worldwide, we're serving out of 70 countries. We're investing heavily in our resources, knowledge and learning and development, our processes and our technologies in order to fix that gap that you were referring to, Dana.
Brilliant, thank you. Mr. Hussam, any thoughts?
You mentioned that AI is not going to replace people's jobs.
Do you think that's true?
I agree with that, 100%. AI is here to streamline more the business operations, reduce errors, providing high-quality services with reduced total cost of ownership. What is really required here, and it is crucial to adopt this and stand out as a region of IT business process outsourcing as a global hub for our region without competing on low-cost labor or with low-cost labor nations like India or Vietnam. We need to upskill the talents in our region, how to utilize AI operations tools, how to use robotics in order to streamline operations and to provide higher quality of service.
Brilliant. I feel like you've already touched on part of this, but for the audience that you're serving in particular, what do you feel are the kinds of skills that you're trying to embed through the training that you're giving them to make sure that they are future-proof? Mr. Allen.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Most of the sessions today, we're all talking about AI and how that's changing the whole landscape. But really a way of looking at it is that it's the traditional coding background that most of us came through is changing. You're using LLMs now to prompt that to develop the code for you. So the skill requirements you need are different. There's also a need for understanding the business domain in which you're working in. By understanding the business domain, you can then use the LLM to create the code that automates the program or the process that you're trying to deliver for the client. So it's really a shift, and that's what we're trying to educate the teams in, is how do you use all of these new, let's call them tools or technologies around AI to be more productive. That's what the clients want. The clients are looking to automate their processes. Their clients are looking for ways to build solutions to automate their businesses. And how do we then train the people to have those skills to use these new automation or AI tools to do that?
Absolutely brilliant. They've been trying to signal to us for a while that time is up, but I was really eager to get some of your answers on that. But of course, if you want to find out more about our panelists, they will all be tagged on our socials. You can find us very easily at Jordan Source on all social media. And of course, whether you were joining us in the hall or watching us online, thank you so much for being a part of our conversation. Thank you to our esteemed panelists. I've really enjoyed our time together. And of course, for more information on how Jordan is a hub for the ICT sector in the region, you can always visit jordansource.com. Shameless plug, but had to do it. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you.